Speaking of forensics, I want to perform a post-mortem, an autopsy, if you will, upon the fully expired corpse of American unity, which lies before us in state. Let's take it apart to find out what made it stop ticking, shall we? The other day, the Wall Street Journal, they released a poll of registered voters that reveals some pretty stark numbers. Did you know, for example, that only 61% of Democrats would say that the United States is the greatest nation on earth, contrasted against 91% of Republicans, by the way. 85% of Republicans think that hard workers will probably get ahead in the U.S. Only 53% of Democrats agree. 55% of Democrats believe that this generation will do better than the last one, whereas only 34% of Republicans buy that idea. Oh, and here's a good one. 61% of Republicans believe themselves to be the ones whom elites look down on. Only 40% of Democrats felt that way. Okay. It's a lot of math, a lot of statistics, a lot of numbers, so we'll leave the numbers out of the rest of this. Folks, none of the items in question, with the possible exception of the last one, ought to be controversial beliefs. In other words, the shifting balance of opinion over things that as Americans we really ought to all pretty well believe in is nothing short of alarming. So, let me tell you why the United States is the greatest nation on earth. And I'm serious when I say this. America is the greatest nation on earth, less for what she has done and more for what she can do. We've created a space for liberty. And no matter how much whining and bitching the left does, we are free. And we have fought to preserve that freedom, both for ourselves and for others, at home and abroad. And the deeply principled ideological foundation that allows for such liberty also allows of the possibility that it can be strengthened, maintained, and even brought back from the dead. The United States is the greatest because we, like Babe Ruth, can call our shot well in advance. We can look towards some place we want to be in the future, recognize the steps it will take to get there, and then point our finger and say, I'm going to set this little bastard down right over there. And yes, occasionally we swing wild and break a window or two, but for the most part, we hit true. The Americans on the Democratic side of things seem to be forgetting this, but I don't want to blame them, not at large at least. Ideas come from well springs, not from everywhere, and the fundamental lens through which the modern Democrat is practically forced to view at least part of the world is a hard thing to be happy about. We've now created a generation of people whose default setting is to go around apologizing to the world for not only what we've done, but for who we are. And if you don't think that can crawl under the surface of the collective American mindset and fester, you got another thing coming, folks. It's a cancer. Look, the upcoming midterm elections are as important to me as they are to anybody on either side of the political spectrum. And for sure, polls like this one perform a kind of reading of the tea leaves that can be useful for us in trying to get the right people into office, and even more importantly, the wrong ones out of office. But that's all surface stuff. Important, but surface stuff nonetheless. Below it lies the beating heart of the American people, or at least the heart that used to be beating. And I want us to see if we can revive it. And that, Sarah, is why I think the insanity is running amok.
Yeah, as I was listening to you say that, I was thinking to myself when you said, I truly believe that America is the greatest country on earth. I would agree with you, but I do find it sad that I have to now stop and try to think about are we still?
Right.
Is there another country that's overpassed, that's past us on that? And I don't think that there is, but that's only because everyone else is going a little crazier than we are. But at what point does that change?
Yeah.
Does it ever change for you? Because I do feel like we could, if we continue in what we're doing now, we could slip enough that I'm not sure that I would consider us the greatest country on earth.
We're now ranked 7th in terms of economic freedom.
Yeah.
Right? Globally. And it's a matter of what you want to use as a measuring rod.
Yeah.
So look at Italy. This election in Italy with the new prime minister who everybody in the media is comparing to Mussolini. We haven't had no one far right since Mussolini.
Well, Chad, she believes in God, country, and family.
She called it the fatherland.
Yes.
Yeah, the fatherland.
Yeah.
So, but that's what she said. Mm-hmm. And she talks about why is the government threatened by the family, I think she's the real deal.
Absolutely.
And the only place that did not go for her was like Florence, which I love Florence. And somebody I saw on social media said, what's wrong with Florence? Well, it's where all the artsy-fartsies live.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
A place that was the heart of the Renaissance.
Yeah.
Florence is now a place that has gone so far out into left field.
It would
quite
be like
honestly.
our Austin.